Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is now 5:30, and I will call this regular meeting of the Burnsville City Council to order. It is our tradition to stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, and we invite you to join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tonight's meeting is being conducted both in person and online. Members of the public may attend in person, or the public may also watch us on burnsvillemn.gov/meetings or Comcast Channel 16 or 859. The public can also participate through Zoom by joining us at zoom.us/join. More information is available on our meeting's webpage and in the council agenda packet. We have announcements this evening, and our announcements have to do with all of our upcoming meetings. Regular council meetings are scheduled for Tuesday, December 3rd at 5:30 p.m. and Tuesday, December 17th at 5:30 p.m. We have a work session that's scheduled for Tuesday, November 26th at 5:30 p.m. and a work session that's scheduled for Tuesday, December 10th at 5:30 p.m. All meetings of the City Council are held in the city in chambers. And tonight we have two proclamations, and I will do that from the other side. First is on Small Business Saturday proclamation and the Lung Cancer Awareness Month. A Small Business Saturday proclamation. Whereas the City of Burnsville celebrates our local small businesses and the contributions they make to our local economy and to our community. And whereas in 2023, there were 525,156 small businesses in Minnesota, which accounts for 94.4% of Minnesota businesses and employers, 1.3 million people, making up 45.7% of Minnesota employers. And whereas in 2023, an estimated $17 billion was spent at independent retailers and restaurants on Small Business Saturday in the United States. Whereas Burnsville supports our local businesses that create jobs, boost our local economy, and preserve our communities. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Elizabeth Couts, Mayor of the City of Burnsville, do hereby proclaim November 30th, 2024 as Small Business Saturday, and urge the residents of our community to support small businesses and merchants on Small Business Saturday and throughout the year. Proclaim this 19th day of October. And President of the Chamber of Commerce, Jennifer Harmoning, is going to receive the proclamation.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then we'll take one here, and then we'll take one with the City Council. Okay, and then we're going to go here.
All right.
Thank you so much. And the last proclamation is Lung Cancer Awareness Month. Whereas lung cancer is the leading cause of cancer death among adults in the United States, and the 5-year survival rate is approximately 60%. Yet only about 24% of lung cancers are diagnosed at this stage. Whereas screening for high-risk individuals can lead to its earlier detection and save lives, and funding for lung cancer research trails far behind funding for research of many other cancers. Whereas lung cancer incidence is decreasing twice as fast in men as in women. And by 2035, more women will die from lung cancer than men. And whereas disparities in lung cancer screening, diagnosis, treatment, and mortality are well characterized among African Americans and other racial minorities. Whereas lung cancer in individuals who never smoked is the 7th leading cause of cancer-related death. 60 to 70% of individuals diagnosed who never smoked are women. And the proportion of lung cancer diagnosed in people who never smoked is increasing in the United States. Whereas organizations such as the American Lung Cancer Screening Initiative and Women's Lung Cancer Forum are committed to educating and working to increase screening rates. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Elizabeth Couts, Mayor of the City of Burnsville, do hereby proclaim November 2024 as Lung Cancer Awareness Month in the City of Burnsville, Minnesota, and recognize the need for research in lung cancer affecting women and minorities, as well as health disparities, and encourage residents to learn about cancer and early detection through screening, proclaimed this 19th day of November 2025. The next item on the agenda is citizens' comments. This is the opportunity for anyone in the audience or viewing us on Zoom to address the council on any item that is not on the printed agenda and not in application form that will be coming before us at a future date. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes an item to be removed, who wishes to address the council? Mrs. Henderson, anyone on Zoom?
No, there is not.
We will then move on. This is for, the next item is for emergency item zoning, and this is an item that is an addition to the present agenda. City Manager Lindberg, are there any emergency items to come before the body?
Nothing from staff, Mayor.
Members of the council? We will move on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda is a group of items that's considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. However, an item on a consent agenda can be removed for a separate discussion and vote. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes an item to be removed for a separate discussion and vote? Mrs. Henderson, anyone on Zoom who wishes the item to be removed?
No, there is not.
City Manager Lindberg, does staff want an item to be removed for
Not from staff, Mayor.
members of the council? May I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda, please?
Move to approve.
There's a motion,
Second.
and there's a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. Thank you. We are now at the regular agenda, and the first item on the regular agenda is a public hearing. This is to approve an on-sale intoxicated liquor and on-sale Sunday license for the relocation of Eclectic Culinary Concepts, Inc., doing business as Lucky 13 Pub, to 2034 County Road 42 West. Presenting this evening is our Deputy City Clerk, Mrs. Erica Henderson. Deputy City Clerk Henderson, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. So Lucky's 13 is going to be moving from the Burnsville Center to the old Outback Steakhouse location, which is 2034 County Road 42 West. State statute dictates that liquor licenses are non-transferable from location to location. So Lucky's 13 had applied for an on-sale liquor license and a Sunday liquor license as well. Burnsville Police Department has conducted the background investigation and nothing was found to deny the application. Issuance is contingent upon the issuance of the certificate of occupancy. the remainder of the fees being paid, and any outstanding documents being submitted. City code does require a public hearing for all new liquor licenses.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Mrs. Henderson? Any questions? This is a public hearing. I will now open a public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to address the council on this issue? Anyone who wishes to address the council on this issue? Mrs. Henderson? Anyone on Zoom?
No, there is not.
Okay. Members of the council, I will now close the public hearing. May I have a motion?
I move to approve and thank them for staying in Burnsville.
Yes, absolutely. There's a motion
Second?
and there's a second. All in favor, please say aye. 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 Opposed, say nay, and a motion carries. Yes, I hope that they're watching us and that they know that we're very appreciative that they chose to continue to stay in Burnsville. And that was a great comment, Councilmember Gustafson. Thank you. The next item on our agenda is 5B, and this is a CSM Park Place LP Plan Unit Development Amendment for 1200 County Road 42 West, and this is to also adopt the ordinance. Presenting this evening is our planning manager, and it is his first time before us, Mr. Mike Marosla.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
Good evening. All right, Chick-fil-A has applied for a PUD amendment to add a second drive-through and a canopy at their location at 1200 County Road 42. As you can see on the screen before you, the existing site does have has a drive-through and has a dual lane entrance into the drive-through. The applicant is requested to expand that and place a canopy over the drive-through. I'll go over that in a second. The subject site is zoned mixed use and guided mixed use on the land use plan. A little background, the applicant's requesting a deviation to allow for a 7-foot setback for the drive-through lane where 10 feet is required by ordinance. The applicant is requesting to allow for a 23-foot setback for the overhead canopy where 30 feet is required. And the proposed drive-through will extend into an existing drainage utility easement. And so an easement encroachment agreement has been drafted and was provided in your packets. So we'll walk through the site plan on the screen here. So the applicant's proposing to do a drive-through extension to reduce stacking on the drive-through lane, the shared drive-through lane into the site. So proposed expansion will allow for additional cars to go into the drive-through and reduce stacking on the shared access outside, just off site here off the screen. So shown in yellow is the proposed expansion. It has 2 lanes. Both lanes are roughly about 10 feet wide. Staff will take orders and deliver them to the cars utilizing the crosswalks here. Orders will take place in this general area here. I don't know if you can really see my cursor, I apologize. So as part of this application, the proposed drive-through will be set back 7 feet from the property line. The property line is actually located within the sidewalk out there right now currently. And so to do that, they're going to encroach slightly into the D&U, existing drainage utility easement here. So a drainage utility easement has been drafted. Drainage utility easement encroachment has been drafted. And then as part of this application, the applicant is proposing to reconstruct the sidewalk. They're going to shift it over approximately 3.5 feet. Currently it's set back 9.5 feet from back of curve to the back of curb on Burnhaven Drive. It will shift over 3.5 feet, allowing for about 5.5 feet separation between the drive-through lane and the sidewalk, which is adequate for snow storage and landscaping in this general area between the drive-through and the sidewalk. And it's only at this one location here where it's shown in red on the screen. That's the closest. Otherwise, it does get larger as you proceed through the drive-through. Again, they're going to replace this whole area shown in orange here and shift it over where it will connect to the existing sidewalk sections. And it will be set back off of Burnhaven Drive again by about 6.5 feet. So it will allow for ample snow storage. One other item on here, the applicant's proposing to construct a canopy onto the existing building. The canopy, it will be constructed onto it and cantilever over the drive-through. The zoning code requires a 30-foot setback for buildings. Well, the canopy will encroach into that by about 7 feet, so they're requesting flexibility to be set back 23 feet from the property line. Here's a side angle here. It's kind of hard to see a little bit, but this here is the black area here is the proposed canopy. It's attached to the building, and there is some ground supports. These ground supports are adjacent to the building. They're not in the drive-through lane. So they'll cantilever over the drive-through by about 7 feet, providing shelter to the staff that are delivering the meals from the drive-through window to the cars in the drive-through lane. As part of the application, the applicant is proposing, has submitted a detailed landscaping plan. All drive-throughs have to be screened to shield the headlights from oncoming traffic. So the applicant has a mixture of coniferous trees and plantings in the general area here. These ones along here are, it's hard to see, I apologize. Oh, I can write. Sorry.
Oh, nice.
These ones here are arborvitaes, and these other ones here are low growth coniferous plantings, boxwood. They get about 3 to 5 feet in height. So it should be similar to landscaping out there as there currently is to block the headlights. Actually, probably improved compared to some of the plantings out there currently.
Yeah.
And they also are proposing to add landscaping throughout the drive-through lane, where previously it's only at the turn here, or currently I should say. So at the Planning Commission, the Planning Commission did hold a public hearing at their October 14th meeting. No one spoke at the public hearing. The Planning Commission did have some questions for the applicant. Majority of the questions are about access into the drive-through and how the drive-through operates. There was one dissenting vote. Otherwise, there's overall support for the project, 4-1 voted approval. There is 4 motions as part of this application. Staff recommends approval of a plan unit development agreement, plan unit development amendment agreement, excuse me, findings of fact, an ordinance for the plan unit development, and approval of the associated easement encroachment agreement. And the applicant, I believe, is on Zoom if there's any questions from the council. And I'm here for any questions as well.
Any questions for Mr. Marosla? Yeah, Councilmember Workman.
Thank you. Just curious about the planning commission, what was the dissenting vote? You don't have to say who, but just what was the reasoning for the opposition?
Yes, council member. The concern was about staff safety in the drive-through and how they work the drive-through and vehicles and the intermixing of pedestrians within the drive-through.
Okay. I see their minutes haven't been posted, but I think their last meeting was canceled, so that's probably why.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
yeah. I listened to them, and it was from an ordinance and land use and PUD, everything was in compliance, and you all have worked very hard on this particular application. Now, I'm not sure, but this has taken months because they came in with one reiteration. Staff had some really good guidance for them. They went back and did exactly what you wanted them to do. So from my perspective and listening and also understanding the work that you had done in the past, the applicant has really complied with all the safety measures that staff had asked them to do. Also, I like that they also added more planting. Also made sure that the sidewalk was still very much accessible for any of those pedestrians looking to cross 42 and walking around that area. So it looks very good, and just listening to the Planning Commission meeting, knowing what it was like the first time around, and then the improved application that they brought back. So I thought it was nicely done. Members of the council, any comments? Yes, Councilmember Gustafson.
I think it's a good plan, if it's gonna reduce the stacking out there, because that's pretty bad right now, so if they can alleviate some of that, it'll help the other tenants in that area as well, so I like it.
Yeah. Any other questions? If there are no other questions, a motion is in order to approve the PUD. So this is bundled up together, and it's really quite well done. Approve the PUD, adopt the findings of fact and the ordinance.
So moved.
Second?
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. Thank you very much. I don't believe that we had any questions for the applicant, but if he wanted to speak, I don't know if he wanted to or not. But everything's good.
Mayor?
Yes.
Could we get another motion on the encroachment agreement? Because we got the 3, but not the 4.
The encroachment? May I have a motion for the encroachment, please?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. And the motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just missed it. Okay, in bundling all of that. Okay, very good. The next item is 5C, and this is a really great item that we're going to be informed about here. And this is a resolution awarding the sale of the general obligation improvement in utility revenue bonds for Series 2024A. And presenting this evening is our Deputy City Manager, CFO, Mrs. Jennifer Rohde. And Mrs. Rohde, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight, the item you have before you is the award of the 2024A bonds. I'll talk a little bit about the bonds. These bonds are issued to finance projects that have been in the 2023 and 2024 capital improvement plans. Those include special assessment and utility-funded portions of our street improvement projects, as well as water and sanitary sewer system improvement projects. As part of the bond issuance, the city staff sought out a credit rating from Standard & Poor's, as is a normal part of this process. And they did assign a AAA credit rating to the bonds. They review a number of things. Those include the economy, our financial information, annual financial statements, budgets, financial planning documents, as well as management practices. So a lot of things go into their review of the credit rating. It does allow us to save money on our borrowing, so it is a good thing, and it is valuable for the city as we look to fund the city's projects. I'll just go over a few highlights of this year's rating report. With that, they usually assign an outlook, and Standard & Poor's did assign a stable outlook, so it gives us some insight into what they think the future of our credit rating is. They also noted a robust and prudent approach to financial management. So some of the things that they pointed out were our 5-year operating projections, as well as our 5-year capital improvement plan, our monthly reporting on our debt, or our regular reporting on our investments and budgets, as well as our reserve policies and our strong financial policies. So those are some of the things they noted in the report. They did note a slightly weaker economy than the U.S. average, but that was offset in part by regular growth in the tax base, as well as our location within the Twin Cities metro area. So they saw those as positives as they reviewed our rating. As they looked and reviewed the financial information, they noted that they expect us to be able to maintain our reserves within our policies. They look at our reserves in relationship to our policies, as well as in relationship to our peers. So they did note that they do expect us to be able to maintain our reserves. They also factored in our annual borrowing plans. They always kind of ask, what are our plans in the next few years? So they looked at, hey, what are we looking at in our annual street or other improvement projects, as well as our facilities borrowing plans. So what they looked at was the same plan as they looked at for our rating evaluation in April. So they took that all into account, and as they noted in their report, the borrowing plans as presented do not pose a downward pressure on the rating. So I think that is valuable insight as we look to our future plans, that they don't see that as a pressure on our rating at this point. So I think that's good news.
Yeah.
So a little bit more about the bid. bids and sale this morning. Bids were accepted until 10 a.m. this morning. And we received 8 bids, so that is good. I think we were expecting about 5, so that's good
3.25
interest
is
in our
really good.
in our bonds. Hilltop Securities was the low bidder, and of the final true interest cost of their bid is 3.2525%. Our pre-sale report projections, we're planning for 3.627, so that will save us interest over what we had planned.
That AAA bond rating really help, what people don't realize, that AAA bond rating and holding that rating and everything that we do. So thank you to you and staff for the work that you do to ensure that we have that, yes.
The low bid did include a premium of about $797,000. That premium was used to size the bonds down, so we did reduce the overall size of borrowing for that premium. That's typically our practice, especially in these annual improvement bonds. It does reduce our overall cost of borrowing. So the resolution in your packets was the draft copy. I believe you do have a final resolution in front of you that shows the details from the bid results this morning. So the final principal amount is $7,550,000, down from the planned principal of $8,430,000. Closing is scheduled for December 5th, so that's when we get the proceeds for the bond sale. And next steps, staff is recommending the council adopt the resolution awarding the sale of the bonds to Hilltop Securities in the revised amount of $7,550,000. With that, I'll stand for any questions.
Any questions from Mrs. Rhodey? What I liked hearing you say is that in your conversations with the rating agency, that they look to what we're going to be doing next year, which is my assumption then, is that our facilities have been, because you already talked with them about our facilities project going forward, and they didn't see that as a downward pressure. They saw that everything is okay.
Correct, they do have the plans as we gave them in April. So they do have the police city hall, as well as longer term general ideas on fire station and maintenance facility. So they have all that information, and they did consider that when they issued our rating.
Okay, and they don't see any problems when we come back next year for reevaluation?
Their wording was they do not see it posing a downward pressure on our rating.
That's what I saw, and I was very happy to see that in that, yes. So thank you so much. That's good news all around. Thank you. Members of the council, any comments, any questions from Mrs. Rhodey? If not, I need a motion to adopt the resolution awarding the sale of general obligation improvement and utility revenue bonds to Hilltop Securities in the revised amount of $7,550,000.
Move to approve.
There's a motion.
Second.
And there's a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. And the motion carries. Thank you so much. And thank you, City Manager Lindberg, Deputy City Manager CFO Brody. Thank you to you and the whole staff for the work that you all do. And we bring forward a great budget, great financial management, that the rating agencies look at it and say, you can still hold your AAA bond rating and you get 3.25% in interest. So thank you so much. Members of the council, there are no other items to come before us this evening, and a motion to adjourn is in order.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. And the motion carries. Good night, and thank you for being with us.